Sup nerds, I'm Tom. Do you like Guilds of London? Do you wish there were Wards of London? Well, first things first, this is an expansion to the base game. I do have a video for the base game. I'm going to put the link in the description box down below. You can check that out. And while you're down there, you'll notice there's a link about this great game topper right here. What? It goes right on top of your table. It's really awesome. We love it. I'm assuming that, you already watched the video for the base game, and I talked about it there, so I'm just going to make this real quick. It's awesome. Buy it. Check it out. Ba-boom. This expansion does add like several different little things. The biggest thing it adds is the Wards of London, but I'll get to that in a second. So the first thing is it adds, there's more cards because you can play with a fifth player now. There's pieces, there's orange pieces, so you can just play with orange, or you can play with up to 5 players. So they added more cards to help facilitate that, but I don't think any of the cards are new. I'm pretty certain it's just a larger number for when you're playing with 5 players. There's also tons of more tiles, they definitely give you more of these ship tiles, whatever these are called, because in the base game you only had the one. It was double-sided, which is cool, but now you have like 5 or something that are double-sided, so you can really change this one up a bunch. There's more of these mayoral rewards card, these endgame scoring cards, which I'm actually now thinking maybe I didn't talk about this in the video for the base game. So these are a thing. They're very powerful. You can draw a whole bunch of them during the game, and that's a really big way to get points. There's also more second place tokens because, the second place reward is always random, and there's, newer things. Again, it's not just more to facilitate with more players for these. There are actually some, new abilities and stuff on there. And there are coins. Coins are really cool because, every card you pitch to pay for an ability on another card is a coin, right? Well, you could gather these coins from other abilities like rewards and stuff, and then you can spend these so you don't have to pitch another card from your hand in order to play, a different card. You know what I mean? Like, it really helps facilitate you getting to actually play more of the cards from your hand instead of pitching them to play other cards. And there are also these, I don't know what they're called. They're neutral liverymen tokens, but they have a slash through them, and you get to place them down and basically say that, we're not going to use neutral liverymen on this tile when it scores, so just don't even do that. Don't try. This is just going to score the way it is, which is, it's definitely good and necessary because those neutral liverymen are so powerful. You really need something to combat that, to nerf them a little bit. But the biggest thing is these Wards of London. If you notice here that instead of having one big clump of tiles in the center of the table, I actually have a couple different these are the wards, and they're in these funky shapes because you get a bunch of new tiles, and I don't know if all of them are the ward tiles. There isn't an expansion symbol printed on there that I could see, so when I mixed it all together, it was hard for me to tell the difference now. But most of them are these ward tiles, which have this little, geometric shape thing in the corner. So that way you place the ward tile out there and surround it with other tiles to make that shape. They're like in between each player, or really, so each player has one in front of themselves. You can only play, whenever you play cards, right, that say you get to move liverymen, let's say, right? You can only move them to wards that you are allowed to. It's the one that's directly in front of you and ones that are adjacent to you and left and right. So in a 3-player game, that doesn't matter. Everybody can go to everywhere. In a 4-player game, whoever's sitting directly across from you, so to speak, you're never really going to interact with them because you're going to be on your ward, left and right, which is these other players, and then the one across from you, you're never going to get to, you're never going to fight each other for control. Well, you will on this one over here, right? On the player. So if I'm playing on Wes is to my left and Aaron is across from me. Aaron and I are never going to place on each other's boards, but we will on the center, on Wes's board that's in between us. But halfway through the game, or really on round 6, you add another ward in between each player, right? So there's me and Wes and Aaron, but now there's my ward, a ward between me and Wes, Wes's ward, a ward between Wes and Aaron, and then Aaron's board. So for that second half of the game, we're never going to interact. We interacted a little bit over here before, but then for the rest of the second half of the game, we're never going to interact. And you really can only do on your own. And then it kind of blocks other people off from playing on your ward, because if you didn't score all these tiles, you still have a couple tiles here, you're in pretty much complete control over all of those. And then it brought up questions like, so I already have guys over there, I can't move them? Well, probably, the rules aren't great. Maybe there's FAQs or whatever, but the rules for both of these, the base game and the expansion, they aren't that great, especially because like a lot of the new tiles have new symbols that I think we got right, but like there are explanations of the new mayoral rewards card and of the new second place token things, but there's no like FAQ or explanation for all of the new tiles, which again, they're mostly straightforward, but some of them have like some symbols that I'm like, is that what this symbol is supposed to mean? I mean, I can use my prior knowledge of the base game and all the symbology and how those things work out to, hypothesize and be 95% certain that that's what this tile means, but again, it just brought up questions of like, okay, so can you use neutral liverymen? I mean, I don't know if moving a dude is only in wards that you're allowed to go to, right? The one here and the ones away from you. If I put one over there a long time ago and now the new ward has blocked me from over there, and you're gonna go to score that tile that have my dudes on it, that I'm not allowed to manipulate those dudes or do anything yet, but I do have neutral liverymen. Can I use those over there? It's kind of a gray area. We were playing it as no, you can't, because we basically just said, just for all abilities, really, it seems like maybe those things are just off limits. And ultimately, even if I got that wrong, I don't really care, because I don't really care about this Wards of London thing. It's the title of the expansion, so I think that's, what they were thinking was going to be the big draw. It really changes the gameplay up, but it doesn't. I don't think it matters. It reduces player interaction. It just adds funky and clunkiness for no real reason, and it's not like more fun that, these tiles over here and those tiles over there. It means like you have to look around, because sometimes you can be focused on just your own board, not really realize, oh, wait a minute, I can come over here and do this thing over here, and then I can bounce over there. Oh, wait, no, I can't bounce over to there. It's just unnecessary. But I still really like the expansion. I mean, you can try out the Wards of London thing and maybe you'll like it or whatever, but I'm pretty certain all of these ward tiles with the funky little shape in the corner, you could probably just ignore that completely and just mix them in. Now, there is a mayoral rewards card that gives you points for every ward tile that you own, that you are the master of. And I don't know if that would be unbalanced if you just mixed everything in there, because it seems like maybe when you're playing with the Wards of London thing, there's only going to be so many, right? Like you could only in theory get like 4 or something of those ward tiles because there's only one per clump. So I guess if you just mixed all the tiles together, you would have to house rule or figure out for yourself whether or not to include that, ward tile mayoral reward card. That is hard to say. But even if this expansion was just more stuff, because for me, it kind of is. I'm probably not going to play that wards thing again, but it's just more tiles, more cards, an ability to play with a 5th player, these coin tokens, these no neutral pawn tokens, more plantation tiles, that's what it's called, more mayoral rewards card, more endgame scoring cards. It's just more stuff. It really increases the variety of the game to the point where I don't think we really need any more. I think having Guilds of London with Wards of London, I'm kind of like set for this game. Now, of course, it's one of my favorite games. I would love for them to do more content for it, but if they didn't do any more content for it, I would be pretty satisfied with this and pretty happy. And if you like the base game of Guilds of London, or if you haven't played it at all, I'm going to put purchase link to the base game in the description box down below, to this expansion in the description box down below. There's going to be links for game toppers in the description box down below. And while you're down there clicking on all that stuff, you should subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.